Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind Podcast, a podcast for estate professionals who earn more, work less, and make a huge difference in their communities. If you get value out of this free content, be sure to check out probatemastery.com, where you can get live classes, access to weekly coaching, and valuable courses. To learn more, visit probatemastery.com. Now let's jump into this week's content.
Welcome to Probate Mastery's weekly coaching call. I'm Bill Gross. I was an occasional guest host, and I became the regular host for a while. And today I'm back being the guest host, or I guess I'm like the substitute teacher. But you don't get to throw things at me when I turn my back and write on the chalkboard, just because I did. No payback time. I am not a coach in the sense that I'm not part of the Probate Mastery formally. I don't do one-on-one coaching. I'm not here to sell you on coaching. I am here to sell you on the American dream. If you work hard consistently over time, you can make a great life for yourself. I'm here to sell you on that. I am here to say that Probate Mastery is the best training that I've done in the probate area. I've done about 6 different programs over time. I've been full-time in probate for really come up on technically 6 years. Really, I signed on November, didn't really start till March, would be 6 years, but kind of started in November. And my first exposure was a local title rep promoting probate. And like a lot of programs, it was promoting really just buying the data and cold calling, and with no real sense of if that would work or not. And, like anything else, if you do the work, I'm all for it. But I knew there was more to probate than that. And so I had signed, when I had to relaunch my personal business almost 6 years ago. I was 60 years old at the time. I had no business. I had quit working as a very successful manager and coach and recruiter for a big company, but I didn't like working for the man anymore. And I went back to production without any leads, any listings, and did my research and decided that probate was a great fit for me. Took Probate Mastery, and I've since taken it 2 or 3 times, paid for it, I think 3 times, and some of the related classes. And 5.5, 6 years later, I have a great business where literally I'm on a call today getting one of my deals finalized on a probate court hearing. And I had 2 leads that came in this morning, that people that I know who've called me. And my business is very much today about referral inbound. I don't do cold calling. Now, I will say in most businesses, you have to spend years of doing lead generation to build a business. But the goal is to build a business that continues without you doing that. That's the goal. Kind of like an airplane. It runs on the runway, uses a lot of energy. The goal is to get up high so you can glide or use less energy. And so I've done that, and I'm a practitioner. I list and sell property every day for families. I'm based in Los Angeles. I'm the LA probate expert, or you can see me at billgrossprobate.com. But I do this, I put into practice the principles of this program, and I've known Bruce for quite a while. I think of him as a colleague as well as a coach and trainer. And so he asked me to fill in today as the coach. So here I am. But just some quick housekeeping as far as what this is, because it's not all about me, as much as I'd like to make it all about me. This is the Probate Mastery coaching call, and probatemastery.com is the website. And from there, you can learn about the different programs and taking Probate Mastery and such, which like I said, I did. People ask me all the time, what's the best program? This is the only one that I recommend. I don't get any affiliate income for saying that. And then they have a Facebook group, Estate Professionals Mastermind, with 8,000 members. And you can continue the conversation there and also learn more about the program, their calendars and such. Look at all the people just joined. Wow, this thing is huge. Separate, I'm Bill Gross. You can go to billgrossprobate.com, and that's me. That's my link to tree with all the different programs I'm working on these days and how to contact me. And then I run www.probateweekly.com, Thursdays, 9 a.m. live, a Zoom call. An interview format typically where I have a leader in the business, an attorney from around the country, or a probate vendor. And that's how I build my business, and also want to learn more so I can continue to grow my business. So that's who I am, but this is what about you guys. It's a coaching call meant for people to benefit, leverage the time you spent taking the class and the program into actually getting into action and turning it into deals. So I'm here to help you with that today. So who's got a question they have, or wants to report a win, or maybe has a setback or problem that they want to talk about? Love to talk about that. Who's got something for us? Either raise your hand in the video, or put in the chat box, or raise your hand on the little Zoom thing.
Where do I do that?
Well, you're good, Shelley. Go ahead. Your last name's Gross, so you're in good
Oh,
shape, Shelley.
yes, I knew. I tried Probate like 10 years ago in LA, and I had no success.
Uh-huh.
I'm now in Austin, Texas, and I'm trying to figure out, how do I approach this? How do I do it? Do I go to the courthouse? I have no clue of what I'm supposed to be doing.
So this is the question we get called, where do I start, right?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. So the key thing for those listening, I would say it depends where you start depends on where you are. I mean, if you said to me, well, how do I get to, I don't know, pick a spot, New York City? The direction is going to be different if you're starting in California than if you're starting in Florida or if you're starting in Boston, correct?
Correct. But I
So
was in LA and I tried it and I wrote thousands of letters and called thousands of people and got nowhere. I'm now in Austin, Texas.
no, I got that. I'm just trying to make a distinction for all the
Yeah.
listeners that the answer, where do I start, is different based on where you are in your business, not just geographically, but business-wise. So let me ask you a couple of questions, Shelley. You're in Austin. Are you doing real estate business outside of probate in Austin, or have you not even done deal one in Austin yet?
No, I have done a few deals in Austin,
Okay.
but
And
nothing to do with
how long have you been in Austin?
uh, only a few months.
Okay. And are you and how many deals do you do in California before you left? Not talking about probate, but just in general.
Oh, I did so many. I did hundreds of short sales in 2009 and lots of things. And before that, I was in New York.
Okay.
So I did a lot.
Okay. Now here's the thing. You asked me the question. I'm going to give you the answer. I know you're not going to like it.
I'm sure I won't. Okay.
But I'm going to tell you the answer that I know would work for you. I've seen work for you. Are you okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this is the beauty of, I don't own the company, so I can tell the truth. I'm only here to help. I'm not really here to sell you anything. I don't really care. But I think that the biggest mistake agents make when they move is abandoning their old contacts. And in particular, the opportunity to leverage that is in probate. What do I mean by that? Because while you can't, maybe you could sell people moving from California to Austin, and that's a different business we're not going to talk about here, but that's a viable business, obviously. But you have friends and family who are in Los Angeles who could benefit from good estate planning, true or false?
Well, most of the people I know all have estate planning. They've all done it and use a fantastic accountant,
Okay.
Noki. He's for real estate.
Uh-huh.
You know him?
I do not.
Okay.
So here's what else. I would guarantee you that if you have 100 clients, not more than 50 have an estate plan that's been reviewed in the last 5 years. It's just mathematically impossible.
Oh, you mean people that already have estate planning you're talking about?
Yeah. And I think that, and again, I know you don't like the answer, so this is where you're resisting the answer, but here's the thing. You could be, if that was true, if every client contact you had in LA had an estate plan, you could be the estate planning expert of California simply by identifying that list of clients, contacting them, interviewing them, and getting a testimony about how much they love whoever it was that did it. If it's all the same person, make that person your new best friend, because now you have testimonials for their business. And other people need estate planning both in California and around the country. And so I think that we miss the opportunity to talk about these things. You heard her say, well, everybody. Well, it's not everybody. It's just not everybody. And even if everybody had an estate plan, I can tell you, having done this, if you call them, half don't like the plan or don't like the person who did it, or the person that did it died, or the person who did it retired, and they're concerned, and it needs to be redone. And they would love an introduction to somebody that could take it from there and move forward. And they're already sold on the concept of an estate plan because they did one already. So I think, so the thing that I tell people, if you want to start off, but you have a database of people to contact, here's what I recommend you do is you call them all, and if you don't know the answer, you ask them, do they have an estate plan? Now, as realtors, we often know the answer because we sold them the house. We knew how they took vesting, or we can go online and check public records and see how the property is vested. So we have permission, in a sense, to call them and say, hey, Shelley, I know when I sold your house, you took vesting as so-and-so, but I went online and noticed that you deeded it out when you refinanced and never put it back in again. Or when I sold you the house, I know that you did a trust Have you had reviews? It's been about 10 or 12 years. Have you talked to your attorney about reviewing it? Make sure everything's up to date. There's new laws, there's new procedures, there's new opportunities to protect your family assets. And if you learn how to get in that conversation, you literally have a never-ending supply of people who you can reach out to and create value for. Number two, they'll ask you for referrals to attorneys because they're not happy with what they have. So now you have referrals you can give to attorneys. And three, you have attorneys that will be anxious to do business with you because you're referring them business.
But all the attorneys that I would have contact with in LA, they're all in LA. So if they did their
two things I would say is, one, yes, the ones who are happy with their attorney and love their attorney want to stay with them, they're only LA based. Yes, that's true. Now that still gives you, and I know you're resisting this here. So for those of you listening, you tell me if you do resistance. But I know plenty of people who do business in the old state via referral. They have a friend, they have a family member, they fly in once a month. You know, if you sell $1 million house once a month, you can afford to fly on Southwest from Austin to LA. I could, and come out and see the house, tour it, and have a local partner and sell the house. So you need to think about a little broader. This is 2024. This isn't 1988 anymore. And even though you can't maybe as a license do it, you on a referral basis can work that way. And I have to say, a lot of it's the culture of the business that we came in when I started the business. My broker only wanted us to do business through his office because he was a broker. That's how he wanted to do business. The modern way of doing business is you building your business and making sure that your resources support that. I'm with EXP. We're a national company. I have friends in Austin. I could have an agent drop by house today in Austin and listing and get a nice referral fee for it. And I would. And I've done listings and referrals around the country. So I think you really need to think about expanding your business. That's why I got into probate. It was a national business. And there are very few agents who've looked at that opportunity. But at least in your case, maybe not national, but just Austin to LA, tightening that up a bit. I just think you could be right and it's impossible, or you could be wrong and you could build a nice business that includes your past clients in California. I'd rather see you expand your business than be right, but that's up to you. Okay.
Right. I'm not saying I'm right. I don't know. That's the whole key. I didn't know.
I say you need to really spend some time kind of open your mind a little bit and think about what's possible, because if you could be right about all that, you told me that, nobody's gonna work with you in California. All of them have LA only attorneys. They all have estate plans and they all use the same one. I'm going to tell you,
I hated my attorney.
I don't know any of them, but I'm going to tell you, none of that's true. And I even know you or any of them. I've been around long enough to know that we tell ourselves no with such energy. And I'm going to tell you that if you called your clients in California, just spend a couple hours, you're going to discover way more opportunity than you ever imagined if you want to follow up on that. Okay.
Do you get all your contacts through lawyers? Is that how you get your probate listings?
I get through lawyers. I get through attorneys. I get through services, vendors, bond companies. I get them through other realtors. People on this call may call me out of state and say, "Hey, Bill, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina." I had one this morning. He's in Florida, but he had a client who's in a lender who called me this morning. He's in Florida and his client's in California and has a property he needs to sell. So past client who lives in Colorado, but he has a friend who has a probate in California. So one thing I've done is everybody I ever talk to goes to my database. I attempt to email out to them every week. I do social media and I attempt to get them on my videos every week. And I've built a business as a result of that, leveraging my time. And so rather than walk away from all those contacts in California, I would say I've taken advantage of everybody I've done business with my entire career. Okay. Shelley, thank you so much. I see, Joseph, you have your hand up. If I can get you unmuted, let's see here.
Yep, I'm here.
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you? Good morning.
Fantastic. Good morning.
It's still morning here, right? Yeah. Okay.
It is here.
A little bit longer. Yeah, I'm on the west side as well. I'm actually in LA as well, and I have some good news. I'm a little nervous. Today's my first day. I have a house that I found that I'm going to be making an offer on.
Nice.
It's a wholesale deal. They have a realtor. I have a realtor I could have brought in, but it's like the lady's best friend. And, it's just not even, it's kind of a moot point, but I actually think it's a good wholesale option because the house needs a lot of reno. It needs a lot of work. And so I'm putting together an offer and I'm just trying to because I haven't ever really presented the numbers to somebody like this, but the numbers I have are solid, and I'm trying to see if I could run these by you so that it makes sense to you. So if I take it to her, like I don't sound like I'm crazy.
Sure.
All right. So the current market value on the home is, according to the RPR report, is 1.475. And the house needs about 150 to $200,000 worth of work. ARV on it, top shelf, with looking like Taj Mahal, it could probably get 1.85 for it. But to get to that gap in value, the house has to get about $150,000 worth of work. So as it sits right now, it's worth about 1.475. We were, for price or for numbers reasons, we were looking at cutting the home repairs because of the jump in value. If we do the repairs, we're cutting the repairs in half and taking that off of the current market value. So essentially what we're offering is we're going to buy the house for what she would get the house for if she were to sell it retail after paying commissions. So we're like $20,000 apart from what we're offering her right now versus if she were to sell it retail for as it sits, just putting some lipstick on it, selling it, and she'd get about the same money. The sell point for us to her is that she doesn't have to sit on the property. She doesn't have to clean out. She doesn't have to worry about any inspections because the house
Right.
needs work. And if they go retail and there's a lender, they're going to want to have this inspection and make sure, title or health and safety is everything's in check. So they got to deal with that. And then they got to deal with potential market shifts and then the time on the market and then people coming in and out and, concessions and all that other stuff. So I'm trying to wonder, or I'm asking you, does that make sense? Do these numbers make sense? Our offer to her would be 1.387. So it's about 100. It's about 100 grand less than what the current market value is, which at a 7% closing, with the 7% closing percentage of what it costs for closing costs, it comes out to be about the same number, give or take a point or two. Does that sound like a fair offer to her, or is she going to be insulted?
What area is the property in?
It's in Huntington.
Huntington
Beach.
Park, Huntington Beach?
Nope, Huntington Beach, HB.
Oh, nice. So it's
Yeah,
still
it's a beautiful home.
real hot
Yeah.
market in that price range. That's going to be real hot. That's definitely lower middle. It's going to be the fat hot part of the market.
Mm-hmm. It's
So
a little further away from the coast, but it's still it's in a cul-de-sac. It's got 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, pool in the back. It's like 3,000 square feet. It's a nice home.
it's Surf City, USA. So
Yeah.
Huntington Beach is like the greatest. So what's your question? Your question is, will she accept that? Is your question?
Well, no, my
gonna-
question is I'm gonna, because she's gonna say, well, if it's, if it's worth 1.8 all fixed up, if it only needs $200,000 worth of work, why can't I sell it for 1.65? And my logic to her is like, usually if people are doing work for equity kind of deals, they're expecting to get at least, $2 for the $1 that they're saving. So it's like, if they're going to need to spend $200,000 or $300,000 to get the house up to livable condition, they're going to want some type of equity in exchange for their willingness to do the work on the house. Otherwise, they'll just go buy a turnkey.
Right.
So if she were to sell this retail I think top of market, she's going to be looking at 1.55 if somebody really wants it, but 1.5 is probably realistic.
I think you're running into the problem of who's the expert and who knows more about the situation. When the seller knows more than you, the deal never gets put together because there's nothing you say they're going to listen to. They know more than you do. So what difference does it make what you say? Either you give them what they want or they're not happy. And so certain people, I think, just fall in category of, having spent the first part of my career on for sale by owners and expired listings, you can kind of judge early on. There are people who are practical and understand it's a business, and everybody in the business has to make some money, or else they're not going to do the work.
Right.
But when somebody says, "Hey, I want all the profit because I own this unique house. It's in Huntington Beach. It's the greatest house ever. It's the closest to everything. It's once you start with that, you're really dealing with somebody who's not highly motivated, and they need to kind of test the market. They can test their theory and be proven wrong. And I think you have to be willing to walk away from that sometimes. So I would, if they're at that number, I'd be surprised if you can get it at 1.380 if you could hold, because you said your goal was to wholesale, not to keep it yourself.
Well, it's a wholesale. I have an investor partner who would do the work. So he'd give me a front end wholesale deal on it, like a contract kind of payment, and then potentially a
At
back end if it
what
goes well.
price?
We
Because
haven't
he's only
set
being willing to go so high, and that's where it
right.
gets that's where it gets to be difficult. So she can want 1.6 all she wants, but I'm surprised even 1.38 would work given the numbers you laid out for $150,000 rehab. In today's market, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like a lot of money for a fairly narrow profit margin. Is
So
my
you're saying it
guess.
should actually come in lower, but I don't want to turn her
Well,
offer
I think the
insulted.
house is worth what the house is worth. I think you have to comp it as it is. Every
Right.
seller would like to pretend as though they did all the. If I have magic pixie dust and I could add all that to my house, it's worth more. Well, yeah, but you don't have magic pixie dust.
And they
If you
don't. Yeah,
did, I'll pay you the magic pixie dust price. But since you don't, here's what the property is worth based on comparable sales of similar properties in your area. And again, I think that there's two approaches in this industry. There's the become the world's best salesman and grind people in the ground and sell people, and the right script's going to change their mind. And I'm on the other, which is try to find people who are motivated
Mhm.
and are reasonable to work with, and your life is a lot easier. And I don't know her. I'm just trying to summarize from what you've said, but if she's not motivated to sell, but she thinks she's going to make a profit without doing any of the work, that's just not realistic.
Well, they have a ton of equity in the house, and it's her and her
Hmm.
sister is the one that lives in the house, and she took a
Hmm.
small like 300K note on it like a
Hmm.
year ago or whatever.
Hmm.
So there's a small note on the house, but she can't carry the house. It's too much house for her. So they're gonna have to sell. I don't think they're in an immediate rush, but if my hope is if I can show her that we can give her pretty much the same money that she would get if she were to try to go the retail route and save her all the brain damage and just
Uh-huh.
like, wash her hands and they can
Yeah.
walk away with a
Well,
check.
look, you're convincing me, and I get that concept. But if she doesn't matter.
I know,
So again, you got
I
to
know
convince.
I'm testing it on you.
Yeah,
I need to make it make sense to me
again,
too.
if once they start talking about 1.6, I just find your
Well,
look. If you have 10 of these leads, I'd say move on to another one. Your challenge. I'll tell you what your problem is. Haven't met you. I'm just going to guess here. I've been around a little bit. Let me play Houdini real quick. You don't have enough other leads, so you're going to work this one to death.
Totally. Yeah, no,
You
she's
go
my
and get some
first
more.
like good lead. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I
go
showed
and
up to
get
the
10
house.
more, and she won't
Yeah.
look that good.
No, for sure. Well, I mean, the numbers are what the numbers are. So she can take it or leave it. And my guess is she's gonna leave it and then go to try to sell it retail and figure out that I wasn't that far off. And then she
And
may come back.
and stay in touch with her and put a search
Yeah.
like in the MLS. I'll put a search on the property, make sure it pops up. I'll see it. Hey, I know you list the property. Good luck with that. I know someone expires. Hey, I know your property expired. Love to talk to you about getting back in the market in a program to cause it to sell. So look, sometimes these people take 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years of nurturing. You need to have 100 people like in your database
Right.
rather than just this one. You're trying to get this one to fit, this one square peg to fit the round hole, and it's just not fitting today.
I'm also trying to get through the process of going through an offer and like just having that experience just so I can like have it.
Yeah, but you
I
can't
know
do that and overpay for the house. It's not going to happen. It's not going to close. So
right.
again, don't be over anxious. Don't want to sell the house more than she does. You want to sell the house more than she does. She doesn't really want to sell. You're saying, well, she has to sell for whatever reason. She can't afford it. Well, you know that, but she doesn't believe that. So it doesn't really matter. And I do this a lot in probate where I literally got a phone call today for a guy who's he's a reverse mortgage. Parents die, which means they have about a 6 month window before they're going to lose the property. He doesn't have any income. He doesn't have any job. He's not old enough to get a new reverse mortgage. He can't afford the house. You and I can look at that and say, well, he has to sell. And he's going to be in the penalty phase when he starts foreclosure, paying a high interest rate. He's not going to sell. There are people who you just have to, they're in charge. I'm not in charge of them. Stay on top of them. And then eventually one day the logic stick hits them in the head. They go, oh my gosh, I can't afford the house. I need to sell. I need to maximize my equity. What do I do? That's the day you want to be on the phone with them, not somebody else.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Go get 10 more like that one, Joseph, and then one will fit. I promise you.
All right. I
Okay.
appreciate that. Thanks,
Good.
man.
Okay. Other questions? I don't know. Am I too hard today? I don't mean to be, but I do want to be truthful.
It's better that way. It's better that
I
way.
hope so. I hope so. Anda, I see you under. Let's get you unmuted and bring you into the call.
Yeah.
What's up, Anda? I don't think we've met before, have we?
No, I don't think so. It's my first meeting, and I thank you for all the advice. I have a question. A few of the probate cases that I see have where the petitioner are representing themselves. They don't have an attorney. What is your advice on how to approach these petitioners.
Yeah. And what state are you in?
I'm in California,
What county?
Alameda County.
Okay. So Alameda County is a lot like LA. Alameda County includes Oakland, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. A lot like Los Angeles in that it's a very bureaucratic process, very bureaucratic court, lower income. LA is the poorest county by percentage in the country. People are surprised to find out. Most homeless, most poverty, most welfare. Alameda is similar in demographic. It's a poorer county. That's why you have a lot of probate skews towards poor. And so people think, well, I'll save money, do it on my own. What they don't realize is it'd be like me trying to repair my own car. I mean, yeah, I'm not paying the repairman, but the car may not work. And so what I find is that, and again, similar to the conversation I just had with Joseph, sometimes people make a decision but don't really know what they're getting into. And they'll say, well, I want to do it on my own to save the money. They don't realize, but they'll never get the probate closed. Many people. I don't know the percentage, but I would say there's three categories of people. There are those who will never close it on their own. There are those that will close on their own, but it'll be a long, miserable process. And there are people who could close it on their own. They tend to be more professional or, have some comfort with technology, uploading documents and such. But of those people, I would say half of them want somebody else to do it for them because they make more money doing what they do than they do playing probate. So it's a long-winded answer. I think if you're going to be in this space, you want to be aware of all the options that they have. So what are the options that person has? They can do it their own.
Yes.
So what resources are you aware of that you can bring to that person to help them because they want to do it on their own? You want to know all those resources, websites, services, companies. If you will go to my YouTube channel, I've interviewed probate heirs research companies, probate bond companies. I've interviewed insurance companies, probate advance companies, all things that a person on their own might need. I'm trying to give them those resources. So when I talk to them and I ask them what challenges they're having, they can share with me and I can maybe solve a problem or two and help them move forward. Second is there are many people who, while they might want to do it on their own because they don't have the money to hire an attorney, there are ways you can hire an attorney or a service without writing a check. So for example, I've used Scrivener.com, SCRIVNR.com. I've interviewed them on my YouTube channel, which is a service that kind of acts, that they'll bring in an attorney. They're really kind of like maybe a TurboTax where, there's an accountant behind the scenes, but most people don't need all that and they'll save some money. But also they can advance, if you do need an attorney, they can advance the fees to the attorney so the customer doesn't have to pay for it. They can advance the fees for the filing fees because Alameda, like LA, just to file the petition costs like $300. And then you have publication costs $300 to $500 or more, plus serving people and all that. So they can advance the money. So so level A on their own, you want a list of services you can bring to them. Level B, people who maybe services kind of like attorneys that can help them, but save them some money to be more efficient. And then C, attorneys that will do a good job appropriate for them. Generally speaking, the attorneys really are necessary if there's objectors, multiple parties, litigation. If there's not, really, I find Scrivener or equivalent service much more efficient for a customer in probate, both in terms of saving money and also faster. People select their own attorney. So many times, so to answer your question, what do you do when you talk to people is find out where are they? Are they stuck in the mud yet? They're going to get stuck in the mud. Find out where they are stuck. And then you want to be the resource to help them get unstuck.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Sure. And are you a real estate agent or investor?
I'm a real estate agent.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I interview people on my podcast, probateweekly.com. You can check that out. And also look at back episodes where I've interviewed some of these different vendors you can add to your Rolodex, okay?
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Henda. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Cindy prefers the ugly truth rather than a pretty lie. Okay. So I guess I'm the ugly truth. Yeesh. How about the handsome truth? Okay, just kidding. Other questions, comments? Who wants to report a victory, loss? I can share a few, but I don't want to monopolize the call. I want to help you guys. Anybody have a comment, question, problem?
I do.
Okay, who's that?
Are you there?
I'm here. Is it Adrian? Adrian? Hello? I heard a voice and then it disappeared. Okay. Anybody else? Question, comment, victory? Got about another 20 minutes. To Anda's point, just while I'm waiting for somebody might have a question, I'll share with you guys an interesting story. Is I had been working with Scrivener, and one of the positions in real estate and in probate, there's the attorney who represents the petitioner, the executor, the administrator, but there's another job where somebody represents the petitioner, the executive administrator, as a fiduciary. Now, they could be a professional fiduciary, or they can act as they can be appointed by the administrator to be the acting administrator or the acting executor. And so I had a case where I had a client who needed somebody to do the work, needed somebody to list the property, needed somebody to sign the documents, needed somebody to sign the legal papers, needed somebody to write the checks and such. So I became the professional. I became the fiduciary. In California, we're the only state that has a license, imagine that, but you only need to be licensed if you do more than 2 at a time. So I actually have 2 cases. One today got approved for final, and you make the same money as an attorney. You can charge as a fiduciary for an account, the same fees as the attorney, the same fee structure in California. But more important, rather than wait for the customer to not sign documents and not get things done, I did everything. I did it quickly. In fact, I'm pushing the attorney. Actually, I changed attorneys. Actually, in this case, now I remember about it. The attorney didn't clear the notes and we got a delay of 6 months. And I got the attorney fired and we didn't pay him anything. I said to him, because it wasn't just that we're changing attorneys because you didn't do your job. You wasted 6 months of our time. And if you want to challenge it, we can go to the California bar and they can tell me an appropriate discount you should give us. But if I were you, I would say, I'm sorry, and not take a penny and move on. And I got them to agree to say, they didn't say I'm sorry, but they agreed to move on. So, KP, I see your hand up and then you dropped it down. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt in the beginning, but I am really new to this part of real estate. So my question is where to start, although I have attended 2-3 under Bruce when he was, and I love his discussion, his way of, teaching us how to, like follow the footsteps, find out our, connections and everything. So I'm trying to find out the best verbiage. But here's the biggest question and challenge that I'm feeling here. Central Indianapolis, I'm here serving from past 3.5 years. And it's a biggest challenge for me to find a probate because I'm new to it, first of all. And this is something very new for me. And I'm trying to find out from where I cannot get public records and stuff. I'm trying to find out. I heard from few agents I should, after listening to Bruce, I was like trying to do my own research and I was figuring out where to get all the data information. And honestly, I just find out one brokerage very close by in my own county. People approach them, whoever is going through these kind of situations, like probate kind of situations or living trust, will, and they reach out to them. So they have big name and they are in big competition. I will be in big competition with them. So my question is how I can approach someone and where I can start, please. I'm sorry if I'm very newbie and I'm sorry,
Well, there's a lot to unpack. First off, I'll say that I think real estate is a business. It's not a job. I think when you get a job, you get hired by somebody, they tell you what to do and you do it. As long as you do it, you get paid, you get a raise, you get vacation pay. This is a business. And if you're going to build it, you have to be willing to compete. Now, if you're not, there are real estate companies that hire agents on a team and you're kind of like an employee. But the fact that it's competitive, I saw that as the opportunity, because in most businesses, people who are very successful get a little lazy, and they
Yeah,
weren't
I love
willing
that.
they weren't willing to do some of the things that I was willing to do to earn the business. And I will say that the number one probate and trust realtor in LA, I mean, she does, big, beautiful homes with great trusts and great trust attorneys, and the houses are lovely. And that's not me, man. I'm turning over $500,000-$600,000 houses, but I do more volume. And one falls out, it's not the same energy and emotion. But I'll hustle them, and they're not going to do what I'm willing to do. They don't need to. They built their business. They're happy with it. I'm happy with my business. So first thing I would never shy away from competition. The second thing is, where do you get the leads? Now you have to decide where there's a need in the marketplace, where you can fill it, and what you want to do. I literally yesterday was walking my neighborhood. I walk for exercise every day. And I was stopped by a guy who's a real estate agent and wants to join me. He saw I wear a cap with my company name on it. And he loves the cold call. Now, most people don't love the cold call. Most people hate
I
it.
do. I do.
Well, then I would say that if you love the cold call, then I would say buy the data and commit to calling them. Because if you love it, there's a need for people who talk on the phone and have these problems, and you'll find them in a way that other people won't. And so you can buy the data through either alltheleads.com or Probate Data. There's different vendors. On my website, I actually have a list of the different vendors that I'm familiar with. And I put my notes as far as what my experience has been with them. I do know that, Bruce has a relationship with alltheleads.com, and I know them to be a good company. Their leads are a little more expensive. But I put in the chat box a link to a page I have of the different data sources that I'm aware of.
Thank you.
And if you go on there and you find one and you have some notes, send me your experience. Let me know if you have some updates or additional companies. But that's my best experience. But I would say buy the data. And then Bruce is a great coach on coaching cold calling for probates. I would say you're in the right spot if that's what you love to do. Most people don't love that. And so those of you who don't love it, don't feel like you have to. It's not the only way to go. I would say I'd rather call people I already know and offer them help with estate planning and avoiding probate and those things. That's been my approach. Does it help a little bit for you?
Yes, it's awesome, because I am not ashamed to say that I'm a cold caller, and I was under coaching from past 2 years, and I loved cold calling, expired, for sale by owners, you name it, I did call them. So I'm not afraid of calling.
Good.
It's like amazing. Thank you so much for guidance. Really appreciate that. Thank
My
you
pleasure.
so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, next up I think is Priya. I see your hand up and you're muted. Let's get you unmuted, and can we get you into the call?
Thank you for taking my call. I just didn't know if this question is for this group, but I do the same thing. I cold call a lot. I have my list from, I don't enjoy it particularly, I just do it. But I have my list from all the leads. So my only question is, the approach for the straight up, PRs who are not the spouse is easy for me. Like I use my script. I train with Brandon, so I have my scripts and all of that. But the ones that is spouse is a little awkward for me. So I tend to be a coward and do the circle prospecting route with them, and not with too much success because they don't know why I'm calling. And so is there any advice on that? Is there a script or any approach that I can take that is not, insensitive, but at the same time, I can offer my services?
Okay, I'm going to ask you some personal questions. You don't have to answer them. I'm going to give you permission that I answer, but are you married?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So when you call the spouse, do you kind of reflect on what if, God forbid, your spouse passed, and that's what you're thinking about?
It seems very insensitive to, when is it?
Well, let's not judge. I just asked you a question. So the answer is yes. And those who watched, it's right away. It's like I pushed a button on her face and she lit up. Her whole body, she backed up when I asked the question. So it's a sensitive topic for you. Let me ask you this, Priya. God forbid if your sister who was married, let's imagine, was widowed, God forbid, and had to go through probate to sell a house, God forbid, would you want a great real estate agent calling them, or just somebody who's cold calling them who might be a complete thief and steal the house and overcharge them and do a terrible job? Who would you rather have call them?
Yes, of course. I want a great realtor like me calling them, for sure.
Stop. Say it again.
I would like to have a great realtor like me call them.
So why are you depriving these spouses of a great realtor like you?
So my question is this, because some spouses may not be ready to leave the house. That might be they just
Oh, who told you that?
well, they just lost their spouse, all their memories in that house. And I don't know how soon it is to bring that subject of now, leave your house as well. That was something you all shared together. So
Okay,
that is
so let's work on scripting. So the question, when you leaving your house might not be sensitive. What might be a sensitive way to find out that information?
yeah. So how do you approach that? Like you can't outright ask them, are you considering maybe having to sell the house? So how do you approach that
So
without
that's a little aggressive. What's a less aggressive way you could get the same information, do you think? Let's brainstorm this.
is it an option for you to just stay here?
Yeah, let's not even go. Let's not even talk about that yet. See, you're focused on you. You're. What I see on your forehead is, I want the listing. I want the listing. I want the listing. I want the listing. I want the
Is there
listing.
anything you need help with that? But why would a
How
realtor
about,
call?
I notice on your probate filing that you listed the assets, including a house. Is your plan to sell the house?
Okay.
Now, normally, a spouse in California, if they took title, the property passes to the spouse normally.
So, Bill, can you repeat what you said in the beginning? I didn't quite catch that. The part where you asked them that question. What was it you asked them?
I notice on your filing, you list the asset of some real estate. Do you plan on selling the real estate?
All right.
Do you plan on selling the real estate? Not I want to list your house. Can I list your house? When can I list your house?
Okay.
But what's your problem? Is your problem that you need to sell? Because nobody files the probate unless they have to. So why might they have to? There's an asset that they don't have control of, they want control of. Generally, the house they bought, normally in probates that I find with their spouses, the house they bought is in the name of the spouse already, right? They bought the house as husband and wife, they bought it later, deeded it. But what they didn't do was the husband owned a business and he had a warehouse, and that was the name of the business, and the business he kept in his. I'm guilty of the same thing. The business is my name only, and I forgot to transfer it into my trust, so my wife is a successor of it. Well, if the property is owned in a corporation, person dies, corporate, you need a probate. And yes, she'll end up getting the property as the spouse in all likelihood, but she has to go through probate to change title in California. So my experience is many of the spousals are correcting other properties, either they own before they're married, or most commonly, I think, a business entity problem, and they don't want to sell the family house. That's okay. I think our mistake as real estate agents, and not you, but the rest of us, I won't judge anybody here. We're so focused on our commission rather than you need to look at these as opportunities to help people. Even if she was just selling a set of baseball cards, I would love to help somebody open a probate and close it to sell baseball cards. Why? I helped her. There's an attorney involved maybe, or a service or something. There's an appraiser who has to appraise the baseball cards. Whatever, you one more successful probate on my belt loop. I got a notch on the belt. So I think that don't focus so much on when do I get a list of property. Focus on how can I help this person. I think the right questions will come to you more freely.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Was that hard? I don't mean to be too hard on you, but
no, not at all.
Okay.
For me, yes, of course, the bottom line is our commission, but that's not my goal at all. With probates, especially, if I could help them, yeah, that's my goal. But the thing is, you just don't want to approach it in a way that, some people get offended. So
no, we shouldn't offend people. We should be sensitive. We should be polite.
It's a newer area for me. So I figured y'all have been doing it for much longer. So I just thought but you've given me something to go by. So for sure, I'll try that. Yeah.
So I think for all of us, I say this out loud to you all to remind myself. My first coach was Zig Ziglar, and he said that you can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. Your job is to find out what their problem is. If you do that enough times, you'll get enough problems to solve that you'll get paid on, that you'll make money. Don't look for problems that you get paid on. Look for problems you can help the customer with. The rest will take care of itself. I promise you. Thanks, Priya. Well, Priya, where are you? I see you're the XP. Where are you located?
Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Baton Rouge. Wow, very nice. Okay, you don't sound Creole. So
I'm Indian from India, so I have my Indian residues of my Indian accent still there.
Very nice. Well, thank you. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it. Okay, I see Arthur Recchi, your hand is up. If I get you to unmute and jump in.
All right, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Arthur. What's up?
Fantastic. Well, I'm, still new at this process. I've been doing it for about a month now, and I've got I guess a couple of questions that have come up, and they're probably meaningless questions. But when you're new, you're trying to make meaning out of everything,
Mhm.
Um, so, first of all, I'm on Cape Cod, okay, which I don't know
Yes.
if you're familiar with Cape Cod. It is nice, and along with being nice means it's pretty expensive. Um, a lot of our houses, well, our average house in the town I live in is 1.4 million, um, which is nice in that you don't have to sell a lot of houses to have it add up. But I guess a couple of questions. First of all, because we're small communities, and I say small, the town I'm living in is about 3,000 people. It's the biggest town of all the towns that border it. We're the biggest, so all the other ones are smaller than that. And it appears, and this may just be a time issue, just need to take time, but it appears that because it's a small community, all the attorneys know realtors, which is not unusual. They know realtors, but actually refer them. Okay. I've had experience in other areas, not on probate, but in some of the things where there were so many people in the area that they didn't necessarily have that close of connections to other people. Does that make any sense?
So, yes. So here's at the risk again of I don't want to offend you, but I get this question a lot, which is all the business is controlled by a handful of people. And it's possible, but I'll bet, let me ask you this. Have you ever pulled the actual probate filings in the county and counted how many different attorneys there were to see what percentage of attorneys control the business? Have you ever done that?
Yes, I have. I mean, I have the complete list directly from the county.
Okay. And so if you were to sort them, how many different attorneys control the top 50% of the business? If you sort them by how many they have, how many attorneys control the top 50% of the business?
Okay, I think this is again maybe unusual, but maybe not. It is very unusual for an attorney to have more than one active case at any one time.
There you go. And I think the thing that I know as a real estate agent is
I think you may have misunderstood my question. I didn't think the attorneys were controlling the deals. I thought that because it was a small town, I've now talked to 15 attorneys, and all of them have had a real estate agent, and a different one. Everyone had a different real estate agent, but that they were in the yacht club
no,
with.
I understand. I understand exactly.
Yeah.
I understand the exact question. So,
Okay.
Arthur, how long have you been selling real estate?
Only a month.
Okay, so let me help you with this. Before you're a real estate agent, how many realtors do you know?
Probably 7 or 8.
Everybody knows 7 or 8 realtors.
Well, yeah, most know more, but I didn't know that many.
Okay. Okay, but that's the point. Everybody knows 7 or 8.
Right.
Everybody. Yeah, I'll tell you a cute story. I do pretty well. I mean, in my world of probate, LA County, amongst attorneys and such, I'm fairly well known. I mean, I'm not a rock star or anything, but in the greater realtor world in LA, West Los Angeles, it's a huge market. I'm just a small little piece of the whole thing. And my daughter one day said, "Oh, do you know so and so? He's the brother of my friend." And I said, "No." He goes, "Well, he's a really big realtor. He does really well. He probably grosses, I don't know, $1 million a year commission. Has a really nice business." I said, "Well, no, honey, I don't really work that area. He works a particular neighborhood, and he's very good at it. Where we live," I said, "I don't really work our area. I work all of California. I work all of the United States, and I get a little piece from different places. But I'm sure he's a nice guy." And so one day I went to court, and it was actually his listing at court, and met him there and introduced myself. I actually had known his brother, and I knew his daughter, and he had known of my daughter and son-in-law. And my daughter was so impressed I met him. Like, it was such a big deal. But the reality is that when attorneys say they know a realtor, how when they work with, if you only do one a year, really are they committed that realtor on their probate business? Is that really what's happening? Or is it attorneys always have to sound like they know what they're talking about, even when they don't?
That's true.
And so they know nothing about, they know 7 or 8 realtors. They don't know if any of them have ever done a probate case ever in their careers. And by the way, what percentage of real estate agents who identify themselves as probate experts have not sold 2 probate houses in their career? Answer, 90%.
Right.
So you're getting caught up in the image. And I think that, yes, you're not going to get realtors you're not going to get attorneys to work with you because they don't know a realtor. You're going to get attorneys to work with you because you're an amazing resource that they need to have, because they do only 1 probate a year and they want to do a good job. And you're the difference between them doing a good job or making mistakes.
Yeah. I'm sure that's true. Okay. I am struggling at how to make that happen. And here's the thing that I'm experiencing. I moved back just a few months ago to Cape Cod. Okay. I lived here 20 years. I was living in Virginia.
Okay.
Okay. For 25 years, I had moved from Cape Cod. Had maintained a house here, in the summers and stuff, but had moved. So I had a few people that I stayed in touch with, but not the same as when you're living in an area. The interesting thing is, in Virginia, I could call up attorney. I wasn't doing real estate, but I still did some stuff with attorneys. I could call up an attorney and schedule a cup of coffee or a 10-minute meeting. No problem. Come here. It's almost, I have not figured out how to get them to even meet me in their lobby and shake my hand and just say hi. They,
how many methods have you tried? What have you tried so far to get them to do that?
Okay, so far I've tried, not necessarily in this order. I'm just going to give you. I've emailed them. I've written them hard copy letters.
Well, hold on a second.
I have called them.
Cold email is a waste of time to attorneys.
Okay.
You've mailed them.
That's why you just asked which ways I tried. That was way late on my list when nothing else worked. I thought, well, maybe.
Well, it's interesting. The first one you answered me with was cold email and cold mail, which are not going to be effective. So what other ones have you tried that you put more energy into that were more effective?
Well, none have been effective. I've stopped in at each one. I have brought baked goods to.
You've stopped in cold with people that you don't know at all.
Correct.
Okay, that's not going to be effective either.
Okay,
that's a little creepy.
Right.
In today's world, post-COVID, that's a little creepy for most people.
Well, it actually I've heard it promoted on Probate Mastery.
Cold or attorneys you have a filing with or have a customer with? See, if I have an attorney that I have a filing with, I'm going to reach out to them. I'm going to call them, maybe invite them to coffee. Maybe I'll just do a pop by if I can't get them connected. But I have a reason to be there. Hey, I happen to be in the area, and I'm working with your client, the Smiths. I thought I'd stop by and just introduce myself real quick, or meet your paralegal. That's different than just I'm a real estate agent desperate for business, and I'm stopping by offices with baked goods. I don't think that's.
I agree with you, but I was trying to take the advice Probate Mastery was giving, so I did it.
I don't know where it said to do cold call going to offices. I'm not aware of that in the.
They literally told the story about an agent having their assistant go and deliver baked goods from a local bakery to just random, cold calling type things and dropping them off and introducing themselves.
I can't wait to speak to that. Everything works at some point. And also I'll say, if I hired a really cute young female to go into offices, maybe she's going to get in the door and they'll be nice to her and take the baked goods. Is it going to lead to business? Are people really going to choose you to list their $1 million house and pay you $25,000 because you send somebody in with some nice muffins? I don't know. It just makes sense to me. I don't
know. I only know what they said. They supposed to be over the next 3 months got 10 opportunities out of them.
So, okay. Well, okay. So how can I help you? What would you like me to do to help?
Well, just some of this brainstorming. I do have My plan B was to go directly to the fiduciaries
Mhm.
um, and see if I can get any breakthroughs there, and then use that to get to the attorneys and the like.
So when you say get to fiduciaries, get to attorneys, I think you can network with them where they live. You can go to real estate investment meetings, meet attorneys there. You can go to bar association as an affiliate, meet people there. You can go to continuing ed classes and learn about probate and meet attorneys who are in that class. You can host your own, find somebody that can teach a class and host one. But again, I think the cold calling to me in this market, in a very competitive market, is a long way to go. And it seems like you've tried a few ways and are frustrated with it. I don't know that you're not going to continue the frustration. So I don't know that to be a successful technique. I can't speak to that. I went to court and met people there, but I met them face to face at court. I've gone to network events, bar association events, and met people there face to face. I've gone to classes with attorneys and met them face to face. To me, those are all things that work. Just cold calling them or cold calling their offices. If it's in the curriculum and somebody made it work, good for them. You're telling me that your area is unique, so maybe it's because your area is unique that it's not working. I really can't speak to that.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's unique.
For everybody in the call, just one last thing before I move on. I got a couple hands up. I'm kind of running out of time.
Sure.
Last thing I would say is certain marketing techniques work in one market, not in others. I'm in a metro area of Los Angeles. You cannot go into an attorney's office cold. Like they're gonna call security on you. But in a rural area, rural area of California, you can do that because they're nice people. And that's just kind of how people do business. And so one thing you need to do when you listen to people's success is make sure that it's something that's applicable to what you do. In many cases, it's not. And I would just say as a general rule, find a marketing plan that works in your area, maybe another industry or somebody else in a similar market, and you can use that. I'm sorry I have to run on. I got two more hands up and I'm kind of running out.
Well, I appreciate the help.
Thank you so much. Sure. Luz, you're up next. How can I help you?
Hi. First of all, thank you for helping us today. I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity.
Thanks, Luz.
Yeah, I watch you on YouTube. Yes. I have like two questions. First of all, I told last week that I just went in cold to an attorney's title office, a title place. And I sent an email to ask for like a meeting. And one of the lawyers responded. He gave me a face-to-face meeting yesterday.
Nice.
And it was wonderful. I recommend everybody to read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So I let him do all the talking, all the talking that the lawyers do and everything. And then he asked me this, he goes, what do you want from me? And I go, wow. Then I started asking, you shall receive. He even invited me to a meeting for investors for December.
Nice.
So I told him I want to build relationships. I told him what I was doing. I told him that I would love, first of all, when I sent the email, I asked for three things. The first thing that I did was to tell them that I would love to refer them to people that I'm going to, like just give them value. So that was a success. And my other question is that I have a work colleague because I have a morning job. So she told me that she's going through probate. So she has 2 properties. So I go, oh, yes, I would love to help you. She asked me if I was still, because I'm a realtor. So I was talking to her today. And the thing is that she already went through probate. And it was like 4 years ago, her dad died. So the brother was an executor. And now she's the executrix. So my question is, I don't even know how to go up. Well, she has a meeting with the lawyer today. You think that she has to wait for the court to tell her that she can sell the properties, or can she sell the properties now? Have you
what state are you in, Luz?
I'm in Massachusetts.
So the laws are going to vary by state. In California, you can't make a binding contract until the court's given you authority.
Yes,
now
that's
there's
what
a
I was
loophole.
thinking.
There's a shortcut that's taught by the CAR, the California Associated Realtor teacher, Paul Horn, an attorney. You can sign a contract, disclose to everybody that's not binding, wait until you get the authority in court, and then go ahead and redo the transaction and close it then. But I don't know Massachusetts law, so I want to answer on that. I just also want to point out a little bit in your story. The attorney you're referring to is like a transactional attorney. We would call them an escrow office here in California. We divide out the work that attorney does that like a title office in Massachusetts.
Yeah, he's a closing attorney. He told
there you
me.
go.
He's a
Closing attorney. We call an escrow officer. They're much more agreeable to meeting with you. And they also might be able to introduce you to probate attorneys. So go back to Arthur's question. Those attorneys you can cold call, closing attorneys, because as a realtor, you can refer them business. They're looking for more relationships for business. So that's more reciprocal. A probate attorney or estate planning attorney isn't going to be as open you walking in the door, whereas a closing attorney is. Just to make that distinction. Again, I'm in California, so the law is a little different. Luz, thank you though very much for the story and congratulations on your success. And I wish I knew the answer.
I as an ethical person, what I thought is I can help her maybe because I think she has to do some fixing the properties. I can maybe do a walkthrough with the contract and everything, a roof, but I can't do anything until the judge says it's okay. Right?
You can do whatever you want. You're not her agent until the court approves her to sign a listing contract with you.
Because she wants to sell.
You can't sell, but you can prepare it. You can secure the property. You can clean up the property. You can get it ready. You can have your pictures ready to go. Locks changed, lockbox on it. You can get it ready to go. You can do all those kinds of things. Again, depending on your license, depending on your state laws.
Yeah.
But you can do the work for free, knowing that you may not get paid for it, but at least. And the other thing I do for people is I'll advance funds. I'll say, you owe me a reimbursement, but if I sell the property, I include that in my commission. So I'll pay for rekeying, I'll pay for the cleanup. If I end up listing the property, I'll waive the invoices.
And I just want to say that I met a wonderful person in this platform, Miss Mina Cooper, and she's part of my team now.
Very nice.
Yes, she prepares taxes and everything. So I recommend her. So yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
Very nice.
Thank
Luz,
you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Let me run a little bit here. I got 2 hands up and I'm out of time, so I'm gonna go real quick. Priya, you have another question I can help you with? Oops, let me get you unmuted.
Oh yeah, get me unmuted. I mean, mute me, whatever. Let's see.
There we go.
Yeah, so I get the list, and most of it is past probate, right? They finished with all the probate, and then they're either listed already. Some of them are pending sale by the time I get them. Now the lawyers, like you had said, the pattern is most of them don't repeat. It's like I have never seen the same lawyer come up over and over again. So what would be the best approach? I don't have a social circle. Well, I know too many lawyers in probate. Break through, and you had a few suggestions before. But other than that, is there any other way we can approach them?
I'm not sure I understand your question. Approach who?
The lawyers. Like your angle is more through the lawyers than approaching.
Yeah, the one I do is what I've used to build my YouTube channel is I would call you up and say, "Hey, Priya, I'm Bill Gross. I'm a real estate agent specialized in probate. I'm not calling you for any business, but I see that you do probate business in South Bay, whatever it is, area of Los Angeles. And I have a YouTube channel where I promote attorneys like you so my customers can see if they need a probate attorney. Would you be interested in doing a short interview video with me on my YouTube channel? I'll charge for it, and you'll end up with a copy of it. If you don't like it, we'll dump it. If you like it, we'll put it on our channels and generate some business." Okay, good, thanks. And the last but not least, he had, Dave Pinnell, you were there, but you disappeared.
I could say something if you want. I'm watching my son. So.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
We've been on the attorney stuff. We've been mailing for a year and probably 16 months now. I've spent over $20,000 in letters to attorneys. And we don't cold call them because they always respond by email, or they email me first. And they don't seem to network outside of their bubble. So you just got to keep that in. They may know realtors, but they don't know realtors that do what we do. Right. I recently went to a class last week for lunch and learn with 33 attorneys, and I was sitting in the middle talking to one attorney, and about 10 of them around me started chatting with me because I told a story about helping a veteran.
Oh, by the way, you're a vet. Thank you for your service.
Oh, you're welcome. But they all turned around and said, "You know what? I needed someone like that. I needed someone like that. I needed someone like that."
Yes.
So it's that communication. It's not, I need a listing or I need to buy a house. They need someone to really help them. And they may know a realtor, or they may know a fancy realtor. if you come across fancy. I don't. They just
You
need
and me
someone
both, buddy.
yeah, they just need someone. What I found out is they do. Last week was my biggest week. I got 3 referrals through my letters. So I
Nice.
think I'm starting to break through. But I'd rather break through that way, have them reach out to me when they have a client, and then try to cold call them and not know who their client list. But also, I know I developed an Excel sheet that tells me in my area how many probates they have open based on all the probate filings. So now I know that like you're saying, the cream rises to the top. So I know one guy in my market has 13 probates open versus one that has 1. But then as they contact me and give me a referral or reach out to me, I'm moving them to like a top priority list. So I may go visit them once a deal or a transaction's done. But over the next 2-3 years, I think I'll have 20 attorneys that give me 1 deal a month.
Well, and for those listening, I mean, Dave's a very successful agent, has been for a while, has a large marketing presence in the area. So it's a little different than somebody starting out trying to get attention. But the principles are the same, which is target and consistency and go for it. So, okay, good. Dave.
We've done 44 probates this year, Bill. 44.
Very, very nice. Outstanding, man.
I know.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Okay, look, I'm a little over time, so forgive me, you guys, for running a little late today. Thank you, David. Always nice to see you. Forgive me for going a little late today. I'm a little out of practice running this thing, but we had some good. I think we had some good give and takes. So hopefully, it was helpful. You got some good ideas. If I can help you, feel free to reach out. I'm at Bill Gross Probate or BillGrossProbate.com. You can set an appointment with me there. I'd be glad to talk to you for free. If I can help your business. I saw a question from Cindy. If you want to reach out to me separately, I'd be glad to try to help you a little bit. And thank you so much, everybody. Again, this is ProbateMastery.com every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great week. We'll see you soon.